Welcome to the Super Speedway.
He runs you like that every time. You know why? Because you let it happen. Shut the f*** up.
Welcome to episode 326 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. Words we've probably muttered about each other, James.
Of a week full of sound bites. That one took the cake. I was wondering if you were going to pull it, and you did.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Yeah. Got to thank NBC for having a nice, clear, unobstructed version of it on the airwaves, so it was nice and easy to pull.
You clipped it before Steve Letarte hovered in with a, well.
Yeah. Like I said, they did a good job of not talking over it, not laughing during it, unlike Fox usually. So it was a good, easy clip.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard Larson get mad. He's pretty mad.
So was he?
Well,
Because I've heard a lot of podcasts discuss
sarcastic,
it. And
maybe.
he and Tyler Mon are pretty good buddies. And I mean, first of all, Tyler's not wrong. I mean,
Well, you told, Kyle Larson gets used up a lot by that 11 car.
yeah,
So,
constantly.
I get it.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if I'm on a track, period, I know I can run Kyle Larson hard and push the limit, and he's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I'm going to do that.
Unless you're Kyle Busch.
Right. Yeah. So
That's just his luck.
right. But yeah, I think this was probably an isolated thing that became a big thing because the clip was so great. I have a feeling that if we included context that it wouldn't be like that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really think it's a thing, but it's something to watch.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, I think they just, Jimmy and Chad
Yeah,
famously
right.
used to get after it from time to time.
Martin
So
Truex
I
Jr.
think-
and
I think
James
they'll be-
Small.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit probably too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Been some comments. That's all. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, but well, we got the USA Today 301 in this weekend. We got the whole race in, James.
We did.
Despite the fact that it looked like for a while we weren't going to. And Christopher Bell gets the sweep or the squeegee. I don't know what do you want to call it.
Squeegee's
rain
fine.
race. Yeah, we'll call it the squeegee.
Yeah.
Wins both of them. Wins the Xfinity race and the Cup race. Probably shouldn't have won the Xfinity race. But still got it done. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But let's talk about the Cup race first. Chris Bell, what did I see? 7 of the last 11 National Tour races he's won there.
Yeah. He's when you go to New Hampshire, you just lock him in for your fantasy lineup. And,
Yeah.
And whatever else you like to do DraftKings or whatever, do that, and then he's in that primo spot. Yeah, dominates that place. That's But this happens though, Eric. We have over the course of many years, guys get on runs like this. They just have things figured out, and Chris Bell and that team, doesn't matter. You put a little water on it,
Yeah.
shoot, he don't care. He's gonna go out there and win.
Yeah, 149 laps led, won the first stage, finished 4th in the second stage, obviously won the race. Like you said, I mean, really, this was the tale of two races. We had the dry race and the wet race.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, the rain tires put on a great show once again in a race that I thought was going to be pretty damn dull because it was, the first stage was excruciating.
Yeah, it was just green flag all the way. And then the third stage was a lot of yellow, but we got her in.
Yeah.
We got her in. Long delays. What was it? 6 hours and a handful of minutes to get that
something like that. So it worked out perfectly for me because I watched on a delay, and when I skipped to the end, I got by the end of the race, I was within 5 minutes of live.
Oh, see, well, yeah, there.
So I literally skipped through the entire rain delay, which was awesome, absolutely awesome. So
Yep. Yeah, I did I broke my code of conduct and looked at the fantasy standings at the rain delay because I'm like, oh, it's over. I'm like, they're bringing him into pit road. Might as well look at where I'm at. I'm like, God dang it, I lost to Melon. And then the race got back going again. And I was like, crap. I broke my. Then I ended up beating Melon, so I was good. Everything was fine, even though I fell I guess it was the jinx that it remains. The jinx remains because I ended up losing a whole bunch of spots. So
Yeah, I had a couple guys fall out that.
I had them all fall out within 5 laps of each other.
Yeah, I knew there wasn't even any point in looking at the fantasy because I wasn't going to like it.
Truex, Logano, and one other one. I was like, they all Chase Elliott. They all crashed.
Yep. I had Truex and Chase. I believe for some stupid reason I had Alex Bowman too. So.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Fantasy. Hey.
Right.
All right.
Let's talk about rain tires though, James. And I guess NASCAR's procedure. A lot of talk this week about what they did. Kind of spoon feeding us with rain tires once again. Let me correct myself. Not rain tires, wet weather tires. We do not race in the rain. We race in the wet.
We race in the damp.
Yes. I would argue, and I think everybody has, that if we didn't have these tires, we wouldn't have raced again on Sunday.
I guarantee that, yeah.
They would have called that race, and they're even if they tried to dry it, they weren't going to get that sucker dry. There's just no way. It wouldn't have been worth it to try and go back green.
Can I have I have another opinion on that?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me trickling in conspiracy Jim situation. If they had a different TV partner, we don't finish that race.
That's probably accurate as well. I'll give you that. How about NBC staying with the broadcast through the entire thing, the entire delay?
And pushing IndyCar like, oh, you guys are going to Fox next year. We're just going to push you off to Peacock. We'll stay.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, I was like, as I was watching this, I'm like, NBC might be pulling the strings here.
Yep.
It's again conspiracy me. That's all. That's all I'm saying. just thinking out loud. That's
right.
all. I thought I'd bring it to this. This is a good format for me to do that.
I didn't even think about the fact that they pushed IndyCar to Peacock, but you're right.
Oh yeah, they kicked IndyCar right out. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you think of NASCAR's procedure? What do you think about NASCAR forcing everybody to change tires, not allowing people to go to slicks? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I was pretty feisty at the start of the delay because
the track was damp and they could have raced in it and they didn't?
Yeah, for like a good half an hour.
Yeah.
I understand why they are overly cautious. I get that. But the fact that it was just drizzling for a while, I don't understand why they couldn't be ready to go.
Right.
I mean, everywhere else you race and there's like NASCAR's raced in the spray before.
But James, we don't have mud flaps.
Here's my James fixes NASCAR again.
Right.
If you're gonna offer the wet tire, you better be able to bring everything that it takes to run in the wet at any given time, in my opinion. I understand, like, we don't want COTA again. I'll preface that, like, we don't want to race in downpours. I totally get that. That's a whole different situation. If it's drizzling like that for half an hour, bring them in, get them ready, and send them back out and keep going.
Yeah.
I don't understand why we couldn't keep going.
So here's the thing, though. First of all, the mud flaps don't do anything.
No.
And the windshield wipers don't either. When was the last time you saw one of those cars, an onboard camera, with the windshield wiper actually clearing the water? I mean,
I know.
These cars drive faster than our street cars, and they have crappier windshield wipers. Like,
they have,
their windshield wipers are
wind.
built for aero advantages, not for clearing the window.
Yeah.
So we don't need either of them. So that whole argument is stupid.
And they put the Rain-X on there.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but my question is the whole, we're going to pit this time. Everybody has to pit. Everybody has to change tires. Everybody has to put rain tires back on.
I was irritated with that part of it because I kind of am on the Jeff Gluck side of this is big boy racing, let him go.
Yeah.
I understand the safety component of it though. As well, because pit road gets a little busy, so it's not
right. But that's when you have every car have to come down and make pit stops. I don't think they should have competitive pit stops. I'm okay with the non-competitive pit stops.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, have competitive pit stops or split the field in half or something.
Here's my argument on this whole thing. I do not fault NASCAR for being cautious. But
No, they were being safe.
But
I get that.
now we've done it. Now we know how it works. Now it's time to take the kid gloves off and be big boys and let the teams make the choice.
Well, and you have teams at an extreme advantage and disadvantage on these wet tires because, like Larson, right?
Mhm.
He was burning up the right rear,
Right.
and he was starting to fade, while Christopher Bell was just cruising along.
Yeah, those guys that saved then didn't get to use that advantage.
And Christopher Bell was just in a class of his own. I mean, he wasn't going to be beat on those wet tires. There was no challenger.
The only issue that I can see arising, James, is okay. So NASCAR creates the rule that you can we when we go to wet weather, everybody has to go to wet weather, and then once the race resumes, you can do what you want to do. Pit stops are non-competitive pit stops. That's fine. You come in, you lose your spot on the track if people stay out, but you don't lose your spot on pit road. You go out in the order you came in. That's fine. The only issue and you can put slicks on or whatever, change tires whenever you want to. The only issue that I have, the only issue I can see that might create an issue is that you can't have non-competitive pit stops under green.
Right.
So what do? Do you say you can't pit under green? In which case the guys can't come down and put slicks on under green? Or do you run the risk of then having an issue on pit road under green and just say, well, there's fewer cars at a time, so we're not going to worry about it? I think that's where the issue is green flag pit stops. Nobody's talking about green flag pit stops that you're going to have a problem there because you can't. I mean, you could lower the speed limit. Say, okay, it's a wet weather race. Now speed limit's this speed instead of the other speed.
Yeah, but then you're just doing processional laps around the
right. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Can't
there,
really.
but
I know it's difficult, and you can't run an entire race like this either. We don't have enough tires. Like, how do you can't bring a whole race's worth of
they
slicks?
had four sets of rain tires though. So I mean,
well, maybe you could then. Well, I don't know. They were burning them up. How many
so
laps?
what? So that's what you do. What you got to do then.
That's true.
They forced them to change tires.
Right?
I mean, yeah, if you don't have to change the tires. There are a lot of cars that weren't going to change tires.
My favorite part was when some teams came down on pit road when they weren't allowed to change tires and change tires, and then everybody freaked out.
Well, nobody told them that they couldn't. NASCAR wasn't clear.
Come back out and tires. Yeah, I don't know. Listen. Overall, the racing when we're green flag racing was really strong.
Oh yeah,
like really good product.
When they took the green and they all went, the first like 3 cars went right to the apron, almost to the grass. I'm like, holy hell, this is amazing.
Yeah, they were. It looked like Michigan or Auto Club. They were fanned out. I saw 5 wide.
Was it Justin Haley that was driving through the grass under caution to cool his tires off?
Yeah, Haley. I saw Haley do that. I mean, everybody was hitting the puddle on the front stretch.
Right. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was absolutely awesome. Props to NASCAR. Props to Goodyear when they first said we were going to run rain tires on ovals, I'm like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. But holy crap. They fixed short track racing with it.
Yeah.
We just need to spray the track at every short track race.
The procedures they're a clown show for, clown show's sake. I mean,
I'll take it if it means we can finish the damn race.
The racing is good.
Yeah.
Yes, the racing is good. There's no issues with the racing. It's just the procedures and the rules, and I just hope they continue to get better because I know I was frustrated, but
yeah.
I mean, Jeff Gluck was probably the most frustrated. He was out there screaming. I was I was like, but I mean, I think the funnest part too was you had guys who had no business being in the top 5. All of a sudden, bam! I mean, Chase Briscoe finished second in this race.
Well, Josh Berry came out of nowhere, and again, not that he doesn't.
He was having a decent day,
right?
He was having a decent day, but yeah, he flew back through the field. Ricky Stenhouse, John Hunter, those guys were. Truex had a wrecked race car. He raced his way up to 9th.
Right.
I mean, it was...
Kyle Busch wrecked under caution.
Kyle Busch wrecked a lot. Oh, man. Kyle Busch and New Hampshire just don't get along. Never have.
I don't know. Kyle Busch has had the worst stretch of his career.
Yeah, ever since I think I saw a stat, ever since Ricky Stenhouse Jr. punched him, he's averaged a 26.5 finish or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not been good.
Just terrible. Absolutely
Poor
terrible.
KFB.
But yeah, Kyle Busch wrecks under caution. Then Corey LaJoie spins out under caution right before we go back to green, and they're wet. And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be a mess going into turn one.
Yeah.
And then they all made it.
They all made it. It's amazing. They can race. They race better on the wet than they do on the dry.
Everybody at Noah Gregson and then Michael McDowell.
Yeah, well, Michael McDowell. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I don't want to hear that excuse anymore.
What?
He's done that 3 times this year.
That he's got to win.
Yeah, I don't have the points. I have to win. Well,
Yeah.
maybe if you'd quit wrecking every time you'd make a dumb mistake out there, you'd have the points.
There's no way he was making that turn.
No, and he wiped Blaney completely out.
Yeah.
He did the same thing at Talladega.
He's lucky.
And he did it at Texas.
He's lucky he's big and Blaney's not a fighter.
Oh my God! Well, he's lucky Blaney won that race last week, is what he is.
That's true. Yeah.
Ryan was hot.
Yeah.
He was not happy about it, but
Can't blame him.
yeah, he just wiped him out.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to make that corner. Denny was even laughing about it.
Right.
Because Denny saw the wreck and he just laughed. He said, "I knew it." He said, "I knew where he was starting and I knew it." And I'm like, man, Michael McDowell has gone. His reputation. I think of him as like. I always thought Michael McDowell was an overachiever, but I think he's kind of entered a new category of what the bleep, dude.
Yeah.
Wrecking everybody out there every week is the same thing. Every time he's in the top 5, he's crashing out because he's got to win. Got to go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it that hard, dude.
Yeah.
I
I got nothing to add there. Just
Thank you. Well, thank you.
stupid move. Stupid move.
He's driving like a certain watermelon guy,
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I mean, 100%.
just with worse stuff.
Right. Worse stuff and worse stats.
Maybe less talent.
Yeah. But Noah Gregson's deal wasn't because Noah Gregson was being an idiot.
No, he hit the paint. No, that seemed to be a problem.
Took Bubba out though. Ruined Bubba's day.
Oh, Bubba was mad too. Yeah, parked it on pit road.
Yeah.
I thought yeah.
Lost power. Car lost power just conveniently right at
yeah.
Gregson's pit stall.
Yep. Yeah, that'll happen. Carl will lose power from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah, just like I said, I like the second race better than the first race. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was the first race. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, but yeah. Racing in the rain was good. It was a lot of caution laps, though. A lot of caution laps.
Does it rain in the fall, late fall, in New England a lot?
Might snow.
Well, maybe that'll
Eric,
be good racing.
we
We'll get to
finished
that in
the
a little bit
season.
too.
We finished the season in New Hampshire once.
You're right. You're not wrong there. We did do that.
Late fall.
The most meaningless, the second most meaningless race at New Hampshire to the 300 laps led by Jeff Burton race.
Yeah. The championship had been decided, and they
Yeah.
went back to New Hampshire to I don't know what they did. And Robbie Gordon got a win. That was the 9/11 season. I think.
Yep. It was the 9/11 race.
Yep.
Yeah. So 14 cautions for 85 laps in this one.
A lot.
And I mean the first caution didn't come until the end of the first stage. I mean they're all racked up in the third stage feels like the fourth stage.
Well, I mean it was it was longer than the Coke 600. So.
Right. Time of race was only 3 hours and 48 minutes, but that doesn't account for the 6-hour red flag in the middle of it. Anything else worth discussing with this, James? We kind of talked about
Bell won the.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say Christopher Bell won the shortest 600-mile race and the longest 300-mile race in the history of NASCAR
There you go.
in the same season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christopher Bell likes the rain.
That's another thing. We went through all this effort to get a race in at New Hampshire, but we couldn't do anything about what was it? The fog at Charlotte or whatever the heck it was.
Coke 600,
Yeah.
the humidity.
The humidity. That's what it was.
The track was too humid to dry. Well, I think the track at New Hampshire was probably too humid to dry too. Just fortunately we didn't have to dry it because it was still.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a dry line, but that track was still wet. I think anybody who put slicks on, if they had the opportunity to do it, it would have been a mistake.
Yeah, there was no. I mean, it was dry in the straightaways, but the corners were.
There was one line,
there was
and if you
nothing
got
there.
off that line, you were screwed if you were on slicks.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Well, there you go. That's New Hampshire for the Cup Series. Christopher Bell gets his 9th win in 162 Cup Series races. Josh Berry, highest finishing rookie in this one. with a third place finish. Certainly looked like it could have been a day for Josh Berry. Good run for him.
Yeah,
here.
it was awesome. Yeah, him and Briscoe were being nice to each other there, but yeah, that was good racing.
Kyle
Really good
Larson
racing.
is your points leader. I can't read. Oh, he's tied with Chase Elliott. There you go. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Kyle
he's got
Larson,
him
Chase
on
Elliott tied.
Yep, got him on wins, so it's first.
There you go.
Although it shows playoff standings, Chase Elliott first, so I don't know what that means, but maybe stage points. I don't know.
I don't know how that is because
That's all Racing Reference says. It could just be
yeah, it's got to be
way they
something because Chase has
might be
one.
playoff points.
Chase has 1 stage win and Larson has 8 stage wins. Playoff
Well, that
points.
can't be then.
Kyle Larson has 23 playoff points. Chase only has 6. So
Racing Reference has really been struggling lately.
yeah.
So
Now it's owned by NASCAR, so you expect it to be crappy, right?
Yep. Yep. I certainly do.
Well, there you go. There's the Cup Series. The Xfinity Series race the day before. They did the opposite. They started on rain tires and then switched to dries. Probably didn't really need the rain tires at the beginning. Pretty much just burned them up. What, they run 10 laps before they took them off?
Yeah. Yep. Got the race fired away.
Yeah. Christopher Bell gets that one as well. I mentioned probably shouldn't have won that race. He did lead 43 laps, but he was fast early and then faded. Well, I guess he won second stage. He didn't place in the first stage, but definitely wasn't the car to beat. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time when Sheldon Creed and Cole Custer decided to start playing bumper tag.
Yep.
And Sheldon Creed gets himself another second place finish. I believe that's 10 now. I think somebody said.
Yeah. 10 without a win.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the record. I believe that's the record. It's tied for the record.
Yeah. So I will argue the reason that Sheldon Creed continues to finish second and not win races is that he's just aggressive enough to piss somebody off, but not aggressive enough to take him out.
Yep.
And in this one, he needed to shove Cole Custer. He needed to make sure Cole wasn't getting back to him, and he barely brushed him. I mean, there was not much contact, but it was enough to give Cole Custer the green light. And Cole Custer took advantage of him, and there you go, another one. Sheldon Creed loses. I don't think Creed even knew that he hit him at the end of the race when he was interviewed.
It was a great last few laps of that race.
Yeah.
That was really exciting. Chris Bell just, swooped in.
Yeah, while those guys were screwing around, he just takes it away and goes on to win.
That's why one guy's in the Cup Series right now.
Right.
In races.
There you go. Some real good stories in this race, though. We'll start with Carson Quapple, finishes 5th. Had a car to win this thing. He certainly, the right moves, could have gotten the win in this one.
Yep.
Great run for Carson. The other one was Justin Bonsignor, who finishes finishes
good,
22nd. But man, he ran really well too. Finished 10th in the first stage, 2nd in the second stage. He did lead 3 laps in the race. Pit stops were really his big downfall because he was struggling to be as aggressive on pit road as he needed to be. Well, he was plenty aggressive coming to pit road, the green flag pit stop. Pulled a Kyle Larson and took the wall out on the entry, but otherwise wasn't aggressive enough on pit road to keep up with the rest of the guys. But great run for him, and from the sounds of the DBC guys, he just scraped some money together to put this thing together to run this race. If you're not familiar with him, you've probably not watched the Wheeling Modified series because he is very well known in that series.
Yeah, people were pumped about that.
Yeah.
On the Wheeling side, so that was really cool to see.
If
that was a great run.
If there's a track for him to run, it's New Hampshire because he's got a lot of laps there.
Surprised we didn't see the Rocket Man out there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, he's always out there, but
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, those modifieds, man, that's the show.
Yeah, oh yeah.
At New Hampshire.
New Modifieds. It's Daytona or Talladega to the Modifieds. It's awesome.
It's beautiful racing. It's really good.
Also, Ryan Sieg finishes top 10, 6th place finish for him. Parker Kligerman was around backwards at one point and finishes 7th.
Yeah. We had disqualification in this race. Matt Benedetto finished 17th and then had 3 loose lug nuts and was DQ'd.
Yeah.
We haven't had a DQ in a while.
I still struggle with the lug nut things. I'm glad we only got 1 in the Cup Series.
He finished the race. I don't understand. I mean, if he's got 3 loose lug nuts, what's the...
I don't
know.
I don't like taking all of your points away. It just... I don't know.
Obviously, they're not trying to cheat.
Right.
when it's 3 loose lugs, but
Right. Yeah.
uh,
I don't know. Anything else with this thing, James? There a lot of stuff this weekend, but not a ton of stuff to really discuss.
Solid race week. We had some good, solid racing. I mean, 2 great finishes, I thought.
This was a
Pretty
good
solid,
race.
so.
Again, another track the Xfinity Series puts on a better show than the Cup Series. At least equal all the time, but I think they put on a better show here. Love this series. I love the Xfinity Series. I really do.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Scroll to the right window here on the NASCAR results. 18th victory and 78 Xfinity Series starts for Christopher Bell. Jesse Love was your highest finishing rookie. I'm too lazy to switch through the pages on my soundboard to push the button. But Jesse Love finishes 13th.
I'll do it for you. Jesse Love.
There you go. Adam Alexander's off for the rest of the season, so we don't need to worry about it. Cole Custer leads the point standings, 15 points over Chandler Smith in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And there you go. That's New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Gonna be more than a year before we go back there again.
Yeah, sounds like it, right? Is that our transition to news?
Sure. Let's talk about the tracks first, even though it's not the next thing on the list. Jordan,
we got a couple things to talk about.
Jordan Bianchi drops the news on the teardown. Homestead, Watkins Glen, and Atlanta coming out of the playoffs next year. We knew Atlanta was. Watkins Glen, not surprising because part of the reason it's in the playoffs is because of the Olympic break. But Homestead is a shocker. Darlington will come back in, which again we already knew that. That was announced.
Yep.
New Hampshire and Gateway coming in to the playoffs next season.
There's my thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I don't need to ask you how you feel about that, James. Here's my take on it. Awesome, great. This is an awesome deal. As long as we keep doing it, let's keep changing the playoff tracks up. If I don't like the fact that we've got 2 more flat tracks coming in, that bothers me. But if we're going to keep rotating races in and out of the playoffs, then good.
4 of the tracks in the playoffs right now coming up next year: New Hampshire, Gateway, Phoenix, and I hate to say it, Martinsville has not been good.
No, I know it's not good.
Half
the playoffs are crappy races.
Yeah, I want to keep Martinsville around. We got to fix the car.
Yeah.
But
just need rain. Just need rain, man.
Man, I'm telling you, that's brutal.
Gateway's
not terrible.
Yeah, Gateway can put on a good show. New Hampshire can put on a good show.
Phoenix can't.
No, Phoenix can't.
Martinsville right now can't. Darlington can.
Yeah.
Homestead can.
Yeah. So the word about Homestead that they mentioned on DBC this week is that the potential might be that they moved Homestead to the spring so that they can then spend time to do some renovations there before making it the final in the series again the following year, to give them that extra time to do the renovations.
Possibly.
So maybe that's okay. I don't know, man.
Jordan said they need another warm weather facility early in the year.
Well, it's true.
Of California being not available to them.
Especially when we're ending the series now. We end the series in the beginning of November, the first weekend of November.
Yeah.
So we're not as worried about cold weather dates at the end of, or warm weather dates at the end of the season. We're more worried about it at the beginning.
Yeah, they're trying to front load a few. What would happen would be, instead of going out to California, like we have been for a few years, you do the West Coast swing and then come back to Homestead.
Right.
Is what it sounds like. So
yeah, I mean, Homestead's a good race no matter where it is. The problem with Homestead is that it's just not in a good location because Miami doesn't support it, and there's nothing else out there to support it. You know,
that's right. Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. If you look at a map, it's not convenient even for Miami, but Miami's the only place it's convenient to, and people in Miami are going to F1. You know, or I mean, I guess they're not because it's so damn expensive.
Well, that's the other thing. When is this race compared to Miami F1 next year? Because I thought it was in the spring too. So
that's a good point. Yeah,
we'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, again, I think it's fine if we continue to rotate dates, but I don't know that's going to be the case. Yeah.
We talked about Michigan. Teardown talked about Michigan, but we chatted about it. I mean, it would be nice to see Michigan get a date. It's an awesome racetrack right now.
Yeah. Well, and again, I'll repeat that Michigan had the opportunity to be the first race in the playoffs when the playoffs were invented.
Yes.
And it went to Chicagoland instead because Michigan didn't want to do it.
Yep. Michigan liked their dates.
Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Michigan pop into the playoffs once. There's not a track that couldn't make an appearance in the playoffs.
Really,
when
no.
they are in the year. So, you certainly could have to front load a couple of them. But even that, I mean, you could run a race. If you can run a race in New Hampshire in November after Thanksgiving, you could run a race in Michigan at the beginning of November.
Pulling the plug on Watkins Glen so early without seeing what a Watkins Glen playoff race looks like is, I don't know. I'm okay with it not being in, but Watkins Glen will put on a good race.
Well, you know the other thing that this tells you? It tells you that the Roval's back next year.
Possibly.
It's definitely back. They're not gonna not have a road course race in the final 10.
Yeah, possibly.
No.
Possibly. Unless NASCAR's retracting that. I don't know.
No, there'll be a playoff. There'll be a road course race in the playoffs
Probably.
next year. So
you're probably right, but
so the Roval will be back. Well, they're not putting money in and changing the Roval this year to take it out next year.
Right.
They wouldn't change.
They're going to see it. Yeah, they're going to take a look at it. Yeah.
So, so we got some news on the Stuart Haas fourth charter that we weren't sure where it was going. It ain't going anywhere, James. Gene Haas is keeping it. One charter for Gene Haas. It'll be called Haas Factory Team. Joe Custer is going to run the team. It will include 2 Xfinity Series teams as well. It'll run out of the Stuart Haas shop, which apparently was a surprise to Front Row Motorsports, who is apparently going to move into that shop and now isn't. And then DBC says that Cole Custer is still not a shoo-in for that ride, even though people believe he is. They think he's still going to Front Row.
Yeah. BS.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Also hearing a rumor Ryan Preece will go to the Xfinity Series for Haas. Probably to fill Cole Custer's ride. Yeah, it would be.
That he's not good enough to be in Cup right now, but not so bad that he can't be a good Xfinity Series driver.
Yep, I agree.
That Xfinity Series team is very valuable to them. So
yeah, I feel like this is one of those things like Haas wasn't getting enough money, and he's just like, screw it, I'll just keep it running for a year. Like, I don't think you want to be the driver for this team because I don't know that this team is long for existence.
We know what Gene Haas looks like without Tony Stewart around. We've seen that, so we'll see it again.
Does this become the new Rick Ware Racing? This ride?
Oh boy, it's going to come back to the field. So
I mean, it's not despite the fact that it's called a Haas Factory Team, it is not factory affiliated. They are not affiliated with Ford, apparently.
No.
Does not have Ford support.
Yeah, they're not a Tier 1 program.
Terrible team name, by the way. Almost as bad as Legacy Motor Club.
Just call it Haas Racing again.
Haas Factory Team is stupid. It's not Supercross.
Yeah. Not as good. They didn't want to call it Haas Motor Club?
Yeah, right?
No.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like any of it. Somebody said, "Thank God for Gene Haas sticking with NASCAR," and I'm like, really? That's the take you got here?
Nah.
He's I don't know. He's making a bunch of money off of these charters, then he's going to stick around for a year. That's your take,
right? Haas didn't do anything as a team owner. It was Tony Stewart that made the team a success.
Tony Stewart built that bad boy up, and when it came time to move on, he was kind of out the door, and that was about the end of that whole operation, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess it does tell you who wanted out, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, you know, if you're not getting the support you need, you don't have the sponsorship, you don't have the backing from Ford anymore, what are you doing?
But
besides
I don't get the one car team thing. This all stinks to me, James. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a full-fledged effort.
It's not. He's going to keep his name out there.
Yeah.
Gene just has extra money to keep racing, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give it all up.
So you think Cole's going to be the driver?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, if DBC says he's not a shoo-in, I believe those guys. I just,
Well, I don't
find it
know
hard
that
to
it's
believe.
I don't know that it's so much that Cole Custer wouldn't be the choice. I think it's just that maybe Cole Custer doesn't want to put his eggs in that basket, probably for the reasons we're discussing.
I don't know if he's going to have a choice.
I don't know. Front row might sign
If
him.
you're front, let me ask you this: if you're front row, like, oh, you bring over Cole Custer, or do you go over and you say, hey, Josh Berry, Rodney Childers? And I know there's other rumors for Josh Berry, but like you can do a lot better than Cole Custer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options out there.
Oh yeah, I mean certainly Josh Berry is my first choice. If I can get that as a package deal, that's my choice.
I think we're gonna know sooner rather than later where Josh Berry's going.
Yeah.
I think Josh Berry's gonna go to that 21 car and he's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. Could very well.
He's gonna bring Rodney and all those guys with him, and that team's gonna be good.
Be a great sign for Wood Brothers, that's for sure.
Penske would be giddy to have that combination over there.
Yeah.
With Rodney, to get Rodney Childers over there.
Yeah. That or send Cindric over to that 21 and put him in the 2 car.
You could do that too. Yeah, you could do that too.
You know. Interesting. We got news before the weekend, last weekend, that a Chase was moving to the 19 car.
This was the soundbite I thought you were going to pull.
It was, it was tough. Larson put out the obituary for Chase Elliott on Twitter.
Oh my God, that was funny.
You know, I really thought Chase Elliott was going over there, but we got the news officially today that Chase Briscoe will go to the 19 car at Joe Gibbs Racing next year. I'm obviously being facetious. Yeah, I'm obviously being facetious. We knew it was Chase Briscoe all along. I love the fact that Joe Gibbs leaned into it and had the teaser they put out yesterday was great with Chris Bell apologizing to Coach, and then having Chris Bell make the announcement today was awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, Coach says during the press conference after the race that basically Chris Bell's good enough. He can do whatever he wants.
Except race his dirt car.
Yeah, right. That's my question. So here's the deal. Chase Briscoe was at a dirt track racing his sprint car when Christopher Bell accidentally made the announcement. Chase Briscoe probably not going to be able to do that anymore, right?
Well, get it in this year. You can do as much as you want. Well, maybe not now. Maybe
right
now he's got a contract in place. Maybe he can't.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure Ford loves him walking around with that Toyota shirt on today. That probably they really enjoyed that.
They don't. Yeah. Well, they don't really have a choice.
I know. I'm not saying he's wrong.
How funny was that Christopher Bell video, though?
Oh my God, it was hilarious. It was so good. I felt so bad for him, but damn, was it funny.
Yeah, that was as awkward as it gets. So good. That was incredible.
I mean, fortunately, it was something that, everybody, the reason he let it slip is because everybody knew it was happening.
Right.
But it was, yeah.
He just didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to say.
I've never seen somebody's face go as red as Christopher Bell's did.
Especially in a NASCAR press conference. He did not know what to do. He didn't know what to do. He was looking around for help, and there was no help coming.
We've had people slip before, but never to that level, and never just completely just stall out. He shut down, man.
Yeah, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to recover from it.
Complete short circuit when it happened.
Yeah. Well, he made a multi-million-dollar announcement.
Right.
It's like, well, here it is. Chase is in the 19.
I think the biggest part of this announcement that, I don't know how much talk it's getting. I haven't checked Twitter a whole lot, is the fact that Bass Pro Shops is sticking on with Joe Gibbs Racing. There was a lot of theories that he was going to go with, that they were going to go with Noah Gregson, and pull support from JGR, and that Mahindra Tractors was going to come over with Chase Briscoe. But it sounds like Bass Pro Shops is going to have a major presence with that team next year.
Yeah.
Not surprising to see Bass Pro Shops stay in the sport somewhere, but not where we expected them to go. So,
it's the complete opposite of what Stuart Haas Racing does.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs has built a legacy on his sponsors.
Yeah. Which is why Kyle Busch fell apart when M&M's left.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That's 100% true. Even though you see a little bit less FedEx, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Gibbs still has that FedEx on his shirt.
Yep.
He still talks about it. Interstate batteries, you
Yep.
know, they don't have the funding they used to, but man, do they have a strong partnership with Coach.
Yep.
And that's what Stuart Haas lost over the years. They lost all that. Stuart Haas had Bass Pro. They lost Bass Pro.
Yep.
They had Mobile One.
Yeah.
Lost Mobile One with Harvick and Anheuser-Busch. You know, they don't have all of those partnerships for long-term deals anymore like they used to have.
Yep. Yeah.
When Harvick retired, that left them a big gaping hole for a 4-car team.
Well, when
Smithfield Foods, you know, another one.
when half of the name on when the entire name on the team isn't at the track every weekend, that makes
That's
a
right.
difference too. You know.
Yeah.
And both the owners were not there most of the
That's right.
time. So
Yep.
Coach is there all the time. I mean, he's always
Coach
there.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing too. Coach, I know Dave Alpern is kind of the next in line now.
Which I love Dave. I love his social
Dave's
media
great.
stuff.
No, Dave's and he's got a great book. And
Joe Gibbs Racing social media is RFK has good social media as far as the jokes, but Joe Gibbs Racing has probably the best social
and
media.
they've been
Just
the best.
period.
Yeah. They've been the best for a long time. You knew they would spin this into a positive.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
and they're really
Yeah.
they're really educational. You learn a lot about the sport and the inner workings of the sport by following their social media. They do a great job.
Yeah. Yep. Eric, were you amazed at how fast the 19 deal came together for Chase?
No, because I think the reason that Martin Truex Jr. announced that he was leaving before the playoffs is that this deal was in the works. I think Martin Truex Jr. was told, listen, we have somebody to sign. You got to make your choice and you got to commit. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we don't want another 1 year thing. What are you going to do? You know?
Yeah. And by the sounds of it, that ties into my next point. Like James Small, two comments in the press conference today, because I watched the majority of it.
I didn't watch any of it. So what did he say?
Well, he said, we are excited to have the opportunity to prove ourselves beyond Martin Truex Jr. Because people may not believe in us without him. And it was the way he said it as well was really interesting. Like he's excited about the opportunity to do that now.
Right.
He made another comment about instability with Martin, the year-to-year deal, and when Coach Joe gave him a deadline, they knew they were going to be able to have a strong foundation to bring in another driver. But he mentioned the word. He said instability. Like he was very poignant about his comments about Martin Truex Jr.
Well, as open as he was after Truex announced that he was leaving, I thought I kind of felt like there's some underlying feelings there.
Yeah, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
But Martin's earned the right to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, he has. I mean,
he can pick and choose what he wants.
Yeah, look at how Mark Martin went out, I mean,
oh god, yeah. I mean, that was a big topic of discussion this week too with the Brad Keselowski Kevin Harvick podcast.
Yeah.
Martin kind of wrecked the start of Brad's career a little bit.
Yep.
So, yeah,
for sure.
I mean, this is Chase Briscoe. I mean, he said it today, if he doesn't win here, his racing career is probably done.
Yeah.
He's like, there's no other, who else is going to take a chance on me if I can't prove myself here?
Right.
And that's what he's excited about. I loved that.
He's going to win some races there.
I think so.
Is he going to win a championship? I don't know, but he's going to win some races there.
He's got, the competition in-house is going to be a fierce team.
Yeah. The only reason I'm saying that he may not win a championship is just because there's just so many people that can win a championship.
He can win at Phoenix, so we know that.
Yeah.
And I think people forget too, he dragged that 14 car to the round of 8.
Oh yeah.
Which was like ridiculous how that team was performing at one time. But he's kind of forgotten. It's been a couple of years now, but I think people are surprised that he was the choice. But
I'm not surprised.
He's proven that he can win in this series, and he's been here now. He's been driving these cars for a few years. Like I think he's going to win some races for sure. It's hard to win championships, but I think he's going to, why can't he have, hate to say Alex Bowman, but why can't he win races like Alex Bowman did? He's
right.
I think he's at least that good. Probably better than that.
I'm guess it's only 4 years. But if he wasn't 4 years younger than Josh Berry, I think the story might be different.
Yeah, he is younger. Yeah.
But I think he's got more upside in the long run than Josh Berry does.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Berry.
He's
Josh
more
Berry's
proven
really,
than he's more proven than Josh Berry too. He's been in the sport longer than Josh Berry. I mean, Josh Berry obviously has his late model career, which isn't anything to sneeze at, but he hasn't been in the top level of NASCAR as long as Chase Briscoe has. So I don't know. I think Briscoe's resume is better than Josh Berry's. I don't know. Time will tell who's going to be the best of those two.
I won our argument from a long time ago. So,
Yeah,
or maybe I'm in the lead.
I don't know. Josh Berry's a little unfair because right now he's got Rodney Childers with him.
He's doing really good.
You know, and
these last couple of weeks, Josh Berry's been very, very good.
Yeah.
But then Chase Briscoe finished second this week.
Right.
So it's like.
But if Josh Berry and Rodney Childers go as a package deal,
that's a
that could be
combo.
the difference maker. That could put him over the top. So I don't know.
Yeah, Chase. I mean, Chase, that one season in Xfinity where he won 9 races. I mean, he was on fire that season. Unfortunately, didn't get the championship done, but I mean, yeah, he can win. He can win at a high level. So, yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what he's made of now. There's no more excuses.
Yeah, there are no excuses that Joe Gibbs
there's
racing.
nowhere left. Yeah, there's nowhere left to turn. You're at the mountaintop now, buddy. You gotta, this is it. Plant your flag and go.
Yeah, the only step up, and I would argue it's a step sideways, would be Hendrick.
Yeah.
I don't think Hendrick's better than Joe Gibbs Racing. I don't think they're worse than Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, there's two real powerhouses, and then Penske's right there.
Yeah.
And RFK's somewhere around there.
Penske might be there if they weren't driving Fords.
Maybe. Pretty
Pretty
cool news, though. I'm happy for this dude.
Yeah, I'm happy. I like to see him get the chance there, and like I said, prove it to us, man. Show us what you can do. This is your chance, and go out and do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Could be a long storied career there. Could be a mess. We'll see.
The reverse Tony Stewart.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stuart Haas to JGR versus JGR to Stuart Haas.
Yep. Other news broke today. Andy Petree has retired, effective immediately.
Retired, air quotes.
Yeah, which is, I mean, we always retire effective immediately right in the middle of a season during a terrible stretch with your top driver. He
retired after what he did last year to Sheldon Creed.
No kidding. But Petree's retired as competition director at Richard Childress Racing, effective immediately. Keith Rodden will take over the position in the interim. Of course, Andy Petree and Richard Childress had fake nice things to say about each other. Petree's been with Childress for a long time.
Yeah.
But the competition side needs some work, and
they're struggling.
Yeah. I mean,
they are struggling.
Kyle Busch is back to unhappy Kyle Busch.
Yep.
And that's not good for anybody,
and
including
Austin
Kyle
Dillon.
Busch.
Austin Dillon, he's his own biggest problem a lot of the time.
Well,
but when you're running where he's running all the time,
yeah.
I mean, your odds aren't any better back there.
He's got that wreck magnet on his car too.
Oh my God! Yeah, took that from Danica when she
right. Yeah. No. Danica just wrecked.
Well,
there was no magnet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danica's magnet wasn't to the wreck. Danica's magnet was to the wall. Especially the inside wall. She really liked to hit those inside walls at super speedways.
Sometimes the outside wall, 'cause she kept her foot in it.
Yeah. Well, there was that one that Casey Kane put her in the wall. California, man, that was brutal. Anyway, didn't think we'd be talking about Danica Patrick today.
Too much Danica. Yeah, we've seen enough of her this week.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say
oh my God. Don't even. I will not share the link to that podcast clip or whatever the hell that was. I still don't know what it was, James. Something about lizard people.
Lizard people were here before us.
Yeah. No. I'm. Wow. I will never get. What was that? 3 minutes or something? That clip.
I don't know, but it was
not
confusing to me. So
back.
I'm glad I could drag you into it.
I mean, I kind of wanted to watch more context to understand where it was coming from, but did not want to put myself through any more of that.
There's no need.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our news this week. Anything break while we were here? I'm checking the Twitters right now.
Nope. Nope. Not that I see, man. I was checking the Twitters and the book face.
NASCAR's racing right now, Nashville.
Oh yeah, there you go. I guess this is not. It's not NASCAR related news, but John Force's crash.
Oh my God, that was brutal.
That
Yeah,
was-
I wanted
that
to
was
mention
big
that
news.
at some point in this podcast, but I didn't know where
that
to
was
do it.
new. That was newsy for the week.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that dude, 75 years old, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's nuts, but thankfully he's recovering-ish, but he's still in the
okay.
hospital. And yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
They released a bunch of information that really gave us very little information today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He was still responding. So
yeah,
but
good luck to
geez, yeah,
him.
if you haven't seen that crash.
300 and some miles an hour into the wall.
Yeah. After he won the race too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll probably steal your checkered flag with the other news item.
Oh, go ahead.
Tony Stewart gonna be dad.
Yeah. That was going to be mine.
I figured. I didn't want to forget about it and not say it. So
Yeah.
I didn't
He's
think you'd
having a
let me
son.
forget about it. Yes, son.
Yes.
Yes. So,
So
another Stewart in the racing pipeline. Will the
good.
son be a drag racer, a dirt racer, or a cup racer?
Whatever. Well, let's just.
Or
well,
IndyCar.
Dad did it all. Dad did it all.
True. That's true. It's probably gonna
Dad's
race.
won and everything.
He's gonna race F1 probably.
Maybe. Who knows? Get him on the Keelan Harvick plan.
There you go.
Yep.
Keelan, man, we're gonna be seeing him soon.
Daddy Smoke is gonna be. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. How many fights does Stewart get in the pits fighting for his son?
He's gonna eventually cool it, right? He's not gonna fight for
No,
his
it's
kid.
Tony Stewart.
He hasn't been in a scrap in a while.
Yeah. I don't know. He's still Tony Stewart. He's still got a mouth.
And a fist.
Yeah. Well, congrats to Leah and Tony. That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
I didn't think
this is
the
what
day
plan
would.
was.
I didn't think the day would come when Tony Stewart would settle down, let alone have a kid. So,
Well, he's the ripe old age of 53.
right.
Yeah.
I got comments, but I'm going to leave them alone. We'll keep it family friendly on the show.
Well, what do they say?
I guess I didn't even
Okay.
realize that we do checkered flags here now. So sorry to steal your checkered flag going into
Oh, it's
checkered
fine.
flags, but
It's fine. It's good to chat about. No, he what do they say? They outkicked their coverage. He's outkicked his coverage.
Yeah.
With where he's at right now.
yeah, there you
So,
go. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
line. That's a good way of saying
Yeah.
it. Checkered flags. I got a couple checkered flags this week, James. I guess more shout outs. You already mentioned one of them. But Brad Keselowski on Kevin Harvick's podcast last week was really good. Paul Andrews on Dale Jr. Download was really, really good as well. Especially if you're into the history of, back the 90s, and Alan Kwiecki and all that. Very touching interview with Dale Jr. Paul, I knew he was still involved in the sport quite a bit throughout, but didn't quite follow where he went after he left Bodine's team when Bodine bought it from Kwiecki. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting story. Good to see, and he's working for Dale Jr. again now, helping with the late models. So
Yep.
and then my actual checkered flag goes to YouTube TV, James.
Oh.
The reason is that when YouTube TV started, or when I switched over to YouTube TV, there were many frustrated moments where the race would go longer than it was scheduled and the recording would cut off. But that doesn't happen anymore. YouTube TV now will sit there and continue to extend the end of the race to get the entire race in. So like when I was trying to follow along, I knew that something was going to happen at New Hampshire because when I looked at my recording, there was like 4 hours of recording after where I was in the race, and there certainly shouldn't have been 4 hours left in the race.
Yep.
So I give YouTube TV a lot of credit. They've done a great job of getting the entire broadcast in. I don't know how many sports they do that with. Obviously NASCAR is big enough now to where they're doing it. You don't have to do anything. You just I don't even pay attention. I don't even check to make sure races are set to record anymore. They just record every week and I get the whole race in. So good job to YouTube TV for that. And it's a great service. It's expensive as hell, so it better be good. But it does the job for me. So
That's right.
there you go. Any other checkered flags for you, James?
I just well, I was gonna mention the Christopher Bell getting to do the interview or to do the announcement today was just chef's kiss.
Yes.
To what it transpired over. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever laugh at a NASCAR press conference quite like I did this week. So that's just a big checker flag for me. I really enjoyed that. So funny.
It was so good.
Oh man. I miss that we're not gonna be able to talk about that in real time like we were when it happened.
Right.
'Cause I sent it to you. I was laughing when I was sending it to you. So I wasn't sure if you had seen it yet. And I'm like, this is great.
Yes,
Oh, God.
good stuff. How about black flags? Any black flags for you this week, James?
Yes. Well, I don't know. I feel like we talked it through, but I hated the start of the rain tires. I was just so frustrated. That was going to be my black flag, but we already talked it through. I just hope that we continue to improve the process with the wet tires. That's pretty much it.
Another props. I don't have a black flag this week, by the way. I thought I had one, but I couldn't think of what it was. The big one I wanted to remember was the YouTube TV thing for the checkered flag. But big props again to NBC. Not only sticking with the coverage, but great job of explaining what was going on. Steve Letarte, man, he is a gift to the broadcast booth. Absolute
Works
gift to
hard.
the broadcast booth.
He puts the work in.
He's so good. He's the only guy that could maybe make Larry McReynolds look like he's not the best.
Well, he's the newer version.
Yeah, I mean those two do such a great job. Steve Letarte did an excellent job of explaining what was going on with the tire situation and all that. He was great last week and he could hardly talk. And it sounded like Rick Allen might have gotten what he had because Rick Allen was struggling a little bit during the race on Sunday, but sounded like his voice was cracking. I didn't. So that's the other thing with NBC's broadcasts. Both the Xfinity race and the Cup race, I started watching from the beginning of the broadcast, and the beginning of the broadcast is literally as they're coming off of turn 4 to take the green flag. Like that's the start of the show. So I didn't see any pre-race or anything for either of the races, but watched the whole race, so that was cool. Short track corner, James, I'll bust through this real quick. Chad Finley won the second annual Bob Finley Memorial Super Late Model race at Owasso Speedway. More than $20,000 goes to win in that race. It's one of the richest wedge super late model races. You did go to that one, right? Yes, I did. It was hotter than hell. Oh, you did.
That's right. That's right. That was
Wednesday night.
Well, you were busy. I'll let you talk about it. But yeah, you had a busy week.
Yeah, it was hot as hell, but it was a great race. That race is in his grandfather's memory. So very cool to see him get that race, the second annual, get the win. He tried for it last year and blew up early in the race last year. The car was built by, I believe last year's winner was Steve Needles. Steve built the car. Steve finished second, gave him a run at the end. Driving for Todd Rosebrew Racing, if you're familiar with those guys out from West Branch area. And of course, Tom Rosebrew, really well known across the racing industry, short tracks, dirt tracks, and all that. He's got a plaque at Eldora Speedway in their Hall of Fame. You can watch the race and all of Owasso Speedway's races on their YouTube page. They're all free on there, so you can check those out. You don't have to pay for a subscription. Some of the races are tape delayed because of broadcast agreements with the different series that come through there, but you can always watch them tape delayed at least, if not live the night of the show. So very cool. They also use the Track Tune app out there, if you're familiar with that. North Wilkesboro used it for the Revival race. It's pretty neat. It's literally just an audio stream of the broadcast or the announcer's booth, but there's like minuscule delay, so you can listen on your phone as it's happening and not have a delay, which is really cool. And plus you can listen to it anywhere. So, and that's always live, regardless of whether there's another series there or not. So, cool deal there. Then the Jeg CRA All-Stars Tour was at Flat Rock Speedway on Saturday. Reigning champion Chase Berta got back to victory lane there. He's been struggling all season with different issues, but finally gets back to victory lane, gets the win out there. He's a Kawicki development driver, had some nice, pretty gold wheels, and the car looked great. And he just ran away with it, pretty much led the entire thing. So, good race out there. First time at Flat Rock Speedway. That was a lot of fun. The Jeg CRA All-Stars are next at Nashville Thursday night this week. It's a non-points event. I will not be there. It's the Battle of Broadway. They'll return back to Michigan for the Instacoat 4th Up North 104 at Whittemore Speedway July 6th. That is their first time ever at Whittemore Speedway. So there's your short track corner.
Very good.
Yeah. Must-see sprints were also at Owasso. A lot of good short track racing this past couple of weeks. The ARCA Menard Series is at Berlin this weekend. Thinking about going out there. I'm not sure yet. Might depend on the weather and everything. They did release the entry list today. 20 cars entered for that.
I think Chase Elliott's racing at Five Flags soon.
Gotcha.
Yep. So
that's a track I'd love to go to. I wish it wasn't so far away.
not in our area, but yeah, he's getting his.
Hey,
late model
short
out.
track corner doesn't have to be Michigan. I just talk about the stuff I'm paying attention to.
Yeah,
so.
I just saw it. I saw it not too long ago, and I thought I'd add it in there.
Yeah, you contribute all you want to short track corner, James. It's not just my corner; it's your corner too.
It's all everyone's corner. Short track is for all.
Yeah, if there's anything you guys want to hear in short track corner, let me know. Like I said, I kind of just talk about the stuff that I'm familiar with and what I've been following over the week. So it's kind of just my spot to, blab a little bit more because I don't have the entire show to do that. So, speaking of Nashville, NASCAR goes to Nashville this weekend. We got all 3 series in action this weekend, James. I didn't put the dates and times in these in the schedule this week, so I screwed up there. But
well, if there's rain in the area, it's not going to matter.
Right.
We'll just move it ahead.
So. It'll either be raining or 10,000 degrees, so whichever it is. The NASCAR Cup Series has the Ally 400. The Xfinity Series has the Tennessee Lottery 250. And the Craftsman Truck Series is back in action finally. I know you forgot about those guys, didn't you?
They're back.
I've been racing for a while. The Rackley Roofing 200 at Nashville Super Speedway this weekend. James, you get to make the first pick. Who is your pick for Nashville for the Cup Series?
There's a handful you could go with.
I hope you don't go with mine because it's the only one I picked. I didn't even pick a second. So
one guy's really dominant. I'll go with the guy who doesn't have a win here though. I'll take Dennis this week.
All right, Denny's not a bad
I'll take
pick.
Dennis this week. Yep.
I'm going with Chase Elliott. Give me Chase.
Oh, all right.
Chase has good results here since we've gone to the next gen car.
Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain seem to be the heavy hitters here.
Yeah, I couldn't pick Larson. That's too easy.
I know.
It's gonna be Larson, but too easy.
It probably will, or we'll see the return of William Byron. I don't know.
Yeah, or if Denny's around Larson, he's gonna push him around again.
He'll wreck him. Yeah. Yep.
How about Fantasy League, James? How did Fantasy League go this week?
Oh, Fantasy League. Well, we had the tale of 2 races, but Green Eggs and Hamlin gets the win. Hot Rod Todd and Hendrick Flair round out the podium. Eric, I was at the bottom. I was 15, but I beat Watermelon James, so that's good.
I'm glad you finished worse than me.
Eric, no, you were P9, so 9th place for Eric. That's about where you finish every single week.
Sometimes I get to 7th. Sometimes I get to 7th.
I fluctuate between 6th and 15th. I thought I was going to have a repeat victory, but I was on the opposite end. Smoking Grill Racing is our points leader. He gains on Team Justin. Green Eggs and Hamlin moves up to 3rd. I'm just under 200 points back, so starting to slide here. But Eric, you are 8th on the season.
I had, I believe, 1 second place finish, and it was a tie for second place. And that's it. Everything else has been crap for me all season.
Yep. I had 1 win, and then I had 2 wins, and then last week, 3, and now back to where I belong. So if you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah. Stupid fantasy.
Stupid fantasy. My worst season yet.
Somehow we have not had technical difficulties during the show. We had plenty before we started, James, but anything else we should talk about before we get out of here and quit tempting fate?
Sounds to me like we best close this out then.
Where can people find you on social media if they want to hit you up during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. I'm pretty sure it's in all those places. I haven't checked in forever. As a matter of fact, last week I discovered that for the first 3 weeks of the month, we didn't have a website because my credit card expired on the on the superspeedway.com. That's been fixed, so that's up again. It shows how much we pay attention to things. I don't even listen to the episode. I just clip it and send it. So I'm glad you guys listen. I don't.
It was working. I had checked it. So
Yeah.
I told you that too. I was on there. Not I must have been the day after I looked.
Weird. So
oh well.
I do know that it's on Apple Podcasts and YouTube for sure, and Amazon and Spotify, because Spotify has to be because it's through Spotify. So anyway,
Yep.
Wherever you found us today, you know it's there. Subscribe. Continue to listen for new episodes each and every week. And if you go to anchor.fm/the super speedway, you can leave us an audio message and we might just play it on the show. Leave us some audio messages, guys. I'm going to stop saying it because you guys aren't sending them to us and we would love to hear from you. Definitely love to make it a part of the show. So if you get a chance, leave us a review, leave us a like, share our podcast, do all that stuff. We appreciate every bit of feedback we get. We appreciate you guys sharing out. We appreciate the loyal listeners. We'll be back next week to break down everything that is Nashville Super Speedway. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.